When we think of vampires, our minds immediately go to the classic Bela Lugosi image, that of a suave, aristocratic gentleman, charismatic but cruel, who preys upon the unsuspecting and drinks their blood. Of course, this is only one archetype of this creature of the night, and there are many others, from the more animalistic ones to the undead monsters created by voodoo magic. But regardless of which type of vampire we're talking about, one thing is certain: they have existed throughout history, both in fact and in fiction. Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, and I hope you've brought your garlic, because today we're going to talk about one of the most terrifying creatures in Philippine mythology, the Tiyanak, a vampiric monster that lurks in the mountains and feeds on the flesh of those who dare wander too far into the trees. In the wooded mountains of the Philippines, the old folks tell a tale to keep children from wandering too far into the forest. It is the story of a mysterious babe who has been left behind, crying alone for help. Legend says that when you hear the plaintive cries of a child lost and alone in the wilderness, it is wise to stay clear. For though innocent and helpless, he who answers the call may just be led to his doom. The Tiyanak, also known as the Mangodile, is an evil spirit who takes the form of a tiny abandoned infant in order to lure unsuspecting travelers into the forest where it can feed on their flesh and drink their blood. Now, like all good scary stories, there are many variants of the tale, but each is equally grim. According to Filipino folklore, the first Tiyanak came to be after a woman gave birth to a stillborn son. The grieving mother cried out to the heavens, asking what she should do with her dead child. From above, a voice told her to leave the body in the forest and it would be taken care of. The next day, her son was gone, but in his place was a tiny coffin made of leaves. As the mother looked on in confusion, the coffin opened and a demon crawled out, transformed into a beautiful man and vanished into the tree line. And so the first Tiyanak had come to the world, born of a mother's despair and a pact with the darkness. Another explanation for the creature's origins comes from the early missionaries. They adapted the local belief to fit the Christian teachings. In this version, the Tiyanak is the spirit of an unborn child who dies before receiving the saving grace of baptism. Doomed to roam the earth, these souls become demons, and they take the form of abandoned infants in order to trick kind-hearted people into taking them in and giving them the one thing they desire, a name. In some cases, however, the Tiyanak is able to speak and asks the finder to perform an entire baptism ritual, complete with holy water and a godfather, before it will finally rest in peace. And this is where the Tiyanak truly shows its demonic nature, because once the ceremony is complete, it vanishes, and the child who took part in the ritual is found dead the next morning, drained of all their life essence. In the Visayan Islands, the origin of the Tiyanak is a bit different. Here, these creatures are the result of a human father and an aquatic mother. When the two mate, she becomes pregnant and gives birth to a humanoid baby with webbed hands and feet, big eyes, and sharp teeth. This baby grows quickly and hungers always for human flesh. But not to worry, because this typhon is actually quite helpful. See, it acts as a guide to lost travelers, helping them to find their way through the dense jungle. However, while it is not inherently malicious, it cannot resist snacking on its companions along the way. So, be careful who you make a deal with. There are many other tales that attempt to explain the reason for the Tiyanak's existence, but they all agree on one thing, no matter how or why they come to be: they are evil and should not be messed with. In terms of appearance, the Tiyanak is described in many ways, but the most common details paint a haunting picture of a disturbing infant. Its skin is pale, almost white, and stretched tight across its bones. It has huge black eyes, filled with malice and hunger, and its mouth is set in a permanent snarl, revealing needle-like teeth. The nails are long and curved like talons, and its limbs are thin and spidery, ending in tiny, clawed hands and feet. Though it looks like a normal baby at first glance, something about its appearance is deeply unsettling. and once it opens its mouth and lets out a blood-curdling scream, there is no mistaking what kind of creature you are dealing with. While the Tiyanak's true form is never seen by those who encounter it in the wild, legends say that it resembles some kind of goblin, a squat, hunched-over humanoid with sharp features and even sharper claws and teeth. Some say it walks on 2 legs, while others claim it hops around like a kangaroo. But all agree that it is a grotesque mockery of humanity, twisted and distorted beyond recognition. In truth, the Tiyanak is pure evil, and any who encounter one should count themselves lucky to escape with their lives. Now, as far as behavior goes, the Tiyanak has only one goal: to lure the living into its lair and drain them of their life force. To do this, it waits patiently in the forest until someone gets close enough to hear its cries. Then it lets out a blood-curdling scream that pierces the trees. This is a sound that drives men mad, a sound that calls to the deepest fears and darkest secrets within a person's heart. And it is irresistible to those who are already lost and alone. And so, when the Tiyanak hears the snapping of a twig or the rustling of leaves, it strikes. It leaps out from between the trees and lands softly on the ground. Then it does something that breaks the hearts of all who witness it, and it weeps. It cries like a lost and lonely babe, and its tears fall to the ground in little pools of fire. No one can resist this sad and pitiable sight, not even those who know the legend of the Tiyanak. But the moment they reach out to help, the creature is gone, vanished without a trace, leaving only the sound of its laughter echoing through the trees. But wait, what happens if you actually touch it? Well, legends say that the moment you pick up the baby, the transformation begins. Its skin turns cold and clammy, and its eyes glow with an eerie red light. Sharp claws and fangs begin to sprout, and its face twists into a demonic grin. Then it strikes. The Tiyanak may leap into your arms and rake down your face with its claws, or it may simply open its mouth and drain you of all your life essence with a single bite. Either way, there is no escape from its grasp. And soon the only sound you hear is the creature's laughter echoing through the trees. However, if the Tiyanak does not kill you outright, it will lead you further into the forest, deeper and deeper until you are completely lost. And here it will feast upon your flesh, tearing it apart with its claws and teeth and drinking your blood until there is nothing left but bones. So, what is the best way to defend yourself against such a creature? Well, there are a few things you can do to try to stop it. First, you can turn your clothes inside out. That's right. According to some versions of the tale, the Tiyanak finds great amusement in preying upon humans, and it delights in scaring people half to death with its transformations. So, if you turn your shirt inside out, the creature will become so confused and distracted by your strange appearance that it will forget all about attacking you. Instead, it will let out a high-pitched screech and leap away into the bushes. You can also try making lots of noise. If the Tiyanak hears the sounds of celebration or other loud noises, it will think that there are too many people around and become frightened. So grab whatever you have handy and start banging on pots and pans, singing, dancing, anything to make lots of noise and scare the creature away. Of course, you could also try using garlic or rosary, since the Tiyanak is considered an evil spirit. Some people believe that it hates the smell of garlic and will flee if you have some on your person. Similarly, a rosary can be used as a weapon against the Tiyanak, as it is said to be repelled by the power of prayer. And then there is the final option, the one that is mentioned in almost every story about the Tiyanak. If you want to stop it from preying upon you, you must give it a name. That's right. According to some versions of the tale, the Tiyanak is doomed to wander the earth without a name, and it craves nothing more than to have someone call it by a proper noun. So if you ever find yourself face to face with a Tiyanak, try offering it a name. You don't even have to like the name. All you have to do is say it out loud and the Tiyanak will vanish into thin air, finally finding the peace it has craved for centuries. If you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up button and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, Subscribe and click the bell icon so you never miss an upload. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.